I stood frozen in the doorway of my own graduation party, my sister Pamela's hand still pressed against my chest from shoving me. The room, my parents' living room that I'd helped decorate just hours before, suddenly felt like enemy territory. 25 faces stared at me, some shocked, others nodding along like Pamela had just spoken gospel truth. My cap and gown hung over a chair near the cake that read "Congratulations, Kirk," in blue frosting, mocking me. "You heard me, Kirk," Pamela said, louder now, her voice cutting through the awkward silence. "You don't belong here anymore. Not after what you did." My hands trembled. I'd worked 4 years for that engineering degree from Georgia Tech. 4 years of 18-hour days, working 2 jobs while maintaining a 3.8 GPA. For years of being the family's golden boy, the one who was supposed to make it out, make them proud. And here was my older sister, 28 years old with her real estate license and brand new BMW, telling me I didn't belong at my own celebration. "Pamela, what are you talking about?" My voice cracked. I hated that. I hated giving her that satisfaction. She crossed her arms, her silk blouse probably costing more than my entire outfit. "Don't play stupid. Everybody here knows what you did to Aunt Gloria. Taking money from a sick woman? That's low, even for you." The room erupted in murmurs. My mother's face went pale. My father looked away. And that's when I knew, this wasn't spontaneous. This was planned. I never took anything from Aunt Gloria. The words exploded from me before I could stop them. My cousin Donnell shifted uncomfortably near the punch bowl, avoiding eye contact. My Uncle Seth's jaw tightened. They believed her. They all believed her. Pamela laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Really? So Aunt Gloria's lying when she said $5,000 disappeared from her account last month? The same month you were helping her set up her new phone and had access to her banking app?" I felt the ground shifting beneath me. Yes, I'd helped Aunt Gloria with her phone. She'd asked me to because she trusted me. She had early onset Alzheimer's, and technology confused her. I'd set up her apps, including her banking app, so she could check her account without going to the branch every time. "That's insane," I said, my voice steadier now. "Why would I steal from Aunt Gloria? I have a job lined up at Henderson Engineering starting next month. I make $42 an hour." "Had a job," Pamela corrected, pulling out her phone. "I called them this morning. Told them about your little theft problem. They said they'd be reviewing your offer." Funny how that works. The room spun. She didn't. She couldn't have. But the smirk on her face told me everything. My baby sister Tiana gasped from the corner. She was only 16, still believed in me. At least one person did. "You called my job." I whispered. "Somebody had to protect this family's reputation," Pamela said, examining her manicured nails. "Can't have a thief representing the Anderson name." My best friend Jamal, who'd been standing quietly near the kitchen, finally spoke up. "Hold up. Pamela. You got proof? 'Cause this sounds like some." "Stay out of this, Jamal," my mother said sharply. Her voice cut through me worse than Pamela's accusations. Mama had always been my rock. Worked double shifts at the hospital for 20 years to help pay for my education. Now she couldn't even look at me. "Mama, you can't seriously believe this," I said, stepping toward her. She stepped back. That small movement destroyed me more than anything Pamela had said. "The bank statement doesn't lie, Kirk," my father said quietly. He pulled out a folded paper from his pocket. He'd brought evidence to my party. $5,000 withdrawn on March 15th. You were the only one with access to Gloria's phone that week. I set up her phone on March 10th. I protested. And I never even opened her banking app after the initial setup. I showed her how to use it and that was it. Pamela stepped closer, invading my space. "Aunt Gloria is sick, Kirk. She barely remembers what she had for breakfast. You took advantage of a vulnerable woman. Our family. For money you didn't even need. If I didn't need it, why would I take it?" The logic was so flawed it hurt. "Greed," she said simply. Same reason you always needed to be the star. The favorite. The special one. And there it was. The real issue. Not theft. Jealousy. I looked around the room, really looked. My cousin Amanda wouldn't meet my eyes. Uncle Seth shook his head slowly. Even Mrs. Patterson from next door, who'd known me since I was in diapers, had her hand over her mouth in horror. The intervention cake sat untouched on the table. Intervention. This wasn't a graduation party. This was a trial, and I'd been convicted before I even arrived. This is insane, I said. I'm calling Aunt Gloria right now. She's resting, Pamela said quickly. Too quickly. Doctor's orders. No visitors, no stressful phone calls. Since when? Since this morning when she had a spell after discovering the money was gone. Pamela's face was a mask of concern, but her eyes gleamed with something else. Victory. My grandmother, Nana Jean, finally spoke from her chair in the corner. At 83, she was the family matriarch, and her word was law. Kirk, baby, just give the money back. We can work through this as a family. Nana, I don't have the money because I never took it. Then where is it? My father demanded. I don't know. My voice rose. I was losing control, and I knew it. But how do you prove you didn't do something? How do you fight accusations built on circumstantial evidence and a sister's lies? Tiana suddenly rushed forward. You all are wrong. Kirk would never. Tiana, go to your room, Mama said. I'm not a child. Tiana shouted, tears streaming down her face. And Kirk isn't a thief. Why won't anybody listen? Pamela turned her cold gaze on our baby sister. Because you're 16 and don't understand how the world works. Kirk has everyone fooled, but not me. I've always seen through his perfect act. There's no act. I yelled. I worked my ass off for everything I have. Language. Mama snapped. I almost laughed. My life was imploding, my sister was destroying my reputation and career, and she was worried about my language? Jamal stepped forward again. Look, this is crazy. Kirk, let's go. You don't need to prove anything to people who won't even listen. He's not going anywhere until he admits what he did, Pamela said. She moved to block the door. We're not letting him run from this. You can't hold me here, I said, my voice dangerously quiet. Try me. She crossed her arms again, and suddenly her boyfriend Casey appeared from the kitchen. I hadn't even known he was here. He was 6'4", former college linebacker. The message was clear. Uncle Seth stood up. Now, Pamela, we don't need to get physical. But Kirk, son, you need to make this right. That's your aunt. Your family. I didn't do anything wrong. The words came out as a roar. And I'm done defending myself against lies. The room went dead silent. Even Pamela looked taken aback by my outburst. I never yelled. Ever. That wasn't who I was. I was the calm one, the rational one, the peacemaker. But there's only so much a person can take before they break. Lies. My father's voice was ice. Boy, you better watch your mouth. Or what, Dad? You'll believe more lies about me? Ship me off to prove I'm guilty of something I didn't do. I turned to Pamela. What's your endgame here? What do you really want? She smiled, and it chilled me to my core. I want you to understand that you're not special. That degree doesn't make you better than me. That job doesn't make you superior. You're just like the rest of us, Kirk. Flawed. Human. And criminal, apparently. There it was. The truth laid bare. This wasn't about Aunt Gloria's money. This was about Pamela's resentment that had been building for years. Every scholarship I won. Every award I received. Every time someone said, "Why can't you be more like Kirk?" to her. This was her revenge. You took that money, I said slowly, the realization hitting me like a freight train. You took it and framed me. The room erupted. Half the people shouted at me for accusing Pamela. The other half looked uncertain, like maybe they hadn't considered that possibility. Pamela's laugh was sharp. Now he's delusional too. Why would I steal from Aunt Gloria? The BMW, Tiana said suddenly. Everyone turned to her. She was shaking but stood her ground. You bought that BMW 3 weeks ago. Cash down payment. You told me it was $15,000. Pamela's face flickered, just for a second, but I saw it. I saved that money. From what? I pressed. You've been between jobs for 6 months. Living with Mama and Daddy. Where'd you get $15,000 in cash? My real estate commissions. Our public record, Jamal interjected, pulling out his phone. His sister was a real estate agent too. Let me check the emails real quick. When was your last closing, Pamela? You don't need to check anything, she said, but her voice had lost its confident edge. My mother looked between us. Pamela? Baby, answer the question. This is ridiculous. Pamela's voice rose. Kirk is obviously deflecting, and y'all are falling for it. He's the one who had access to Aunt Gloria's banking. But you had access to her debit card, Nana Jean said quietly. Everyone froze. Gloria told me last month that she let you borrow her debit card to pick up her prescriptions. Said you kept it for a few days because you were running errands for her. The air left the room. Pamela's face went from confident to panicked in seconds. That doesn't mean, I gave it back. When? I asked, stepping closer. When did you give it back? Before or after the $5,000 was withdrawn? I don't remember exactly. March 13th, Nana Jean said. You gave it back March 13th. I was there. 2 days after Kirk set up her phone. 3 days before the money disappeared. My father's face hardened as he looked at Pamela. Did you withdraw that money? No. Daddy, you can't believe. The ATM cameras, Jamal said, still on his phone. If Kirk took the money through the app, there'd be a transfer record. If someone used the card, there'd be ATM footage. We can check. Pamela's boyfriend Casey suddenly spoke up. Baby, maybe we should. Shut up, Casey, she snapped. Then, realizing what she'd done, she tried to recover. I mean, there's no need to drag this out. We all know Kirk did it. But the tide had turned. I could see it in people's faces. Doubt creeping in. Questions forming. Cousin Amanda spoke up hesitantly. Pamela, I was with you at the BMW dealership. You paid cash. I asked where you got it, and you said it was from a settlement from when you slipped at that restaurant last year. It was. I work for an insurance company, Uncle Seth said slowly. Personal injury settlements take months, sometimes years. And they're usually paid by check, not cash. Pamela looked around wildly, seeing her support crumbling. This is insane. You're all turning on me because Kirk is a master manipulator. He's always been able to talk his way out of anything. Then let's call the bank, I said, pulling out my phone. Right now. Get the transaction details. If it was an app transfer, I did it. If it was an ATM withdrawal, you did. Aunt Gloria is sick. We can't bother her with. I'm calling the bank, not Aunt Gloria. I dialed the number I'd helped Aunt Gloria set up her account with. Put it on speaker. The automated system answered. I navigated to check recent transactions, entered Aunt Gloria's account number that I remembered from setting up her app, and her phone number. Within seconds, a representative answered. Yes, I'm calling about a transaction on this account from March 15th. Can you tell me if it was an ATM withdrawal or an app transfer? Pamela lunged for my phone, but Jamal blocked her. Casey looked like he wanted to help but seemed frozen, finally realizing what was happening. The representative's voice crackled through. I'm showing an ATM withdrawal of $5,000 on March 15th at 3:47 p.m. from our branch on Peachtree Street. The room went silent. I didn't even have to say it. I'd been at my final exam that day from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Half the people in this room had seen my Instagram story celebrating finishing my last test. Pamela. My father's voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried the weight of a thunderclap. Tell me you didn't. She stood there, backed into a corner, literally and figuratively. Her face cycled through emotions: panic, defiance, anger, and finally, something like defeat. You want to know the truth? Her voice shook. Fine. Yes, I took the money. I took it because I needed it. Because while Kirk got scholarships and grants and everyone throwing opportunities at him, I had to scrape for everything. Do you know what it's like being the older sibling of a genius? Being constantly compared and found lacking? Mama's hand flew to her mouth. Oh, Pamela, no. Yes. Tears streamed down Pamela's face now, ugly and raw. I worked just as hard. I got my real estate license. But one bad quarter and suddenly I'm a failure while Kirk is the golden child who can do no wrong. So you stole from our aunt. Uncle Seth's voice was disgusted. From a sick woman. I was going to pay it back. Pamela screamed. Once I got a big commission, I was going to put it all back. She wouldn't have even missed it. She has Alzheimer's, not amnesia in her bank account. Tiana shouted. And you tried to destroy Kirk's life over it. You called his job. Pamela turned to me, mascara running, face contorted. You have everything. One job. You could get another one. But this was supposed to be my year. My comeback. That BMW was supposed to show everyone I was successful too. By committing elder abuse. I asked quietly. The legal term hung in the air. That's what this is, Pamela. Financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. That's a felony. She paled. I didn't think of it like that. No, you didn't think at all. My father stood up, and I'd never seen him look so disappointed. You stole from my sister. You lied to us. You tried to destroy your brother's future. For a car. It wasn't just about the car. Pamela sobbed. It was about respect. About being seen. About not being invisible next to Mr. Perfect. I'm not perfect, I said, my voice cracking. I'm exhausted. I've been working myself to death trying to make you all proud, trying to prove I deserved every opportunity one got. And you repaid me by trying to ruin me. Mama stood up and walked past Pamela without looking at her, coming straight to me. She pulled me into a hug, and I felt her tears on my shoulder. I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry I didn't believe you. We all are, Nana Jean said. Pamela, what you did. I don't even have words. Pamela looked around at all the faces staring at her with disappointment and disgust. So that's it. Everyone takes Kirk's side? Nobody cares that I've been suffering. Suffering doesn't justify theft, Jamal said bluntly. Or framing someone. That's toxic behavior. Everybody makes mistakes. Pamela pleaded. Mistakes. I laughed bitterly. You didn't accidentally take that money. You planned this. The accusations. The party setup. Calling my job. This was calculated. You need to return that money, my father said firmly. Today. And you're going to call Henderson Engineering and tell them you lied. I can't. Pamela cried. I spent most of it on the car down payment. The rest is gone. Then you'll sell the car, Uncle Seth said. You'll return every penny to Gloria, and you'll apologize to Kirk and get his job back. Or I'm calling the police myself. Casey cleared his throat. Pamela, I think I should go. Casey, please. But he was already heading for the door, and I didn't blame him. Who wants to date someone capable of this? My phone rang. Henderson Engineering. I answered with shaking hands. Mr. Anderson? This is Amy Dallas from HR. We received a concerning call this morning about a theft allegation. Given the serious nature, we've been conducting a review. My heart stopped. I understand. We called the police department where the alleged theft occurred. There's no report on file. We also did some additional reference checks. Your professors, your previous employers, all of them spoke highly of your integrity. We're calling to inform you that your offer stands. We look forward to seeing you in May. The relief nearly knocked me over. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hung up and looked at Pamela. They didn't believe you. She crumpled into a chair, defeated. The room began to empty, people uncomfortable with the drama, eager to escape. Mrs. Patterson stopped by me. I'm sorry we doubted you, Kirk. Congratulations on your graduation, baby. One by one, they left. Until it was just family. My father made Pamela call the dealership right there. The car could be returned for a full refund minus a fee. They'd have $14,200. Pamela would have to come up with the other $800 plus the amount she'd already spent. She'd be paying Aunt Gloria back for months, working whatever job she could get. I want you to know something, I said to Pamela as she sat there, defeated and crying. I would have helped you. If you'd come to me and said you were struggling, needed money, I would have given it to you. I'm your brother. She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. Would you really? Yes. Because that's what family does. They help each other. They don't destroy each other. Mama sat beside Pamela. Baby girl, you need help. This jealousy, this resentment, it's eating you alive. We're going to get you counseling. I don't need. Yes, you do, Daddy said firmly. This isn't negotiable. Tiana came and stood beside me, taking my hand. I never doubted you. I know. Thank you. As the sun set on what should have been one of the best days of my life, I looked at my graduation cake, still untouched. Jamal grabbed 2 forks. Might as well not let it go to waste. We sat on the back porch, eating cake and watching the sky turn purple and orange. My phone buzzed, messages from cousins and family friends apologizing, supporting me. You know what the crazy thing is? I said to Jamal. I almost feel sorry for her. Don't, he said. She made her choices. I know. But I also know what it's like to feel like you're not enough. I just chose to work harder instead of tearing others down. 3 months later, I started at Henderson Engineering. Pamela entered therapy and returned all the money to Aunt Gloria, who, in a moment of clarity, forgave her but maintained boundaries. Our family slowly healed, though trust was harder to rebuild. The lesson I learned? Sometimes the people closest to you can hurt you the most. But standing up for yourself, speaking your truth, and refusing to be crushed by lies, that's real strength. And that's something no one can take away.